Excellent. Michael Kempner, founder and chief executive officer of MWWPR, has been honored with several of the industry's highest accolades, including PR Week's PR Professional of the Year in 2015 and 2010. Additional awards and recognitions include the PR Executive of the Year Award from the International Business Awards in 2014, 2013, and 2012. Grand Prize for Communications Professional of the Year from the 2013 and 2012 Bulldog Stars of PR Awards. PR Executive of the Year by the 2013 and 2012 American Business Awards. PR News also named Michael Agency Leader of the Year in 2013 and CSR Professional of the Year in 2012. He was inducted into the PR News Hall of Fame in 2009 and inducted into PR Week Hall of Fame in December of 2020, most recently. One of the most highly regarded recognitions in the communications industry for those who have made outstanding contributions to the development of modern public relations. Now, I know as an alum, Michael is particularly proud of the fact that he received in 2018 the Doctor of Humane Letters from American University. But I think more than ever, he's most proud of most recently becoming a grandfather of two adorable twins. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you all so much. It's nice to say that I'm the star, but the reality is, and I don't say this with any false modesty, when you listen to Tiffany and Sophia and Kate, you get a real sense of who the actual stars are. Kate came and shadowed me one day in our New York office. And afterwards I said, Gina, I don't care what you have to do, go hire her.
What impressed you about Kate when she shadowed you?
I mean, there's two things. I mean, Kate clearly is somebody who knows how to own a room. Kate comes in and she's smart and she asks great questions and she's confident without being arrogant. And those are the kind of things that impress me. I'd like to look at a complete package. A lot of people, to be frankly, they like to hire by checking boxes. I like to hire. Yes, you have to have something in your background, but I like to hire the whole person and understand what their potential is and their interest. There's a type of person that self-selects American. And those are the type of people that I think have those qualities we just talked about and bring a real life, more practical viewpoint.
I had seen a series written by an officer from MWWPR about reputation resolutions every company should make, one of which included widening companies' advocacy apertures. And I would love to hear a little bit more about that and how that influences your everyday work.
I started this agency with brand purpose. I didn't even know there was such a thing called brand purpose. This is when you just did stuff. It didn't have a name. So first and foremost, I think every company has to have a soul, right? They have to have something they believe in. They have to have a North Star, both for themselves and their employees and their clients. One of the great things about being an independent agency and not being a public company and not having to worry about all those things is that, we can do what we want. And if someone doesn't want to hire us because of our values, and I'm not talking about crazy stuff, we're talking about things like justice and equality and equity. If you don't want to hire me because of that, I don't frankly want you as a client. People will be very loyal to a company that shares their values. I don't know how you could keep an employee or keep a customer today without having and leading with your values.
I'm curious kind of how much work your creative puts in like videos in today's landscape and maybe where you see it going down the line.
Well, video is, part of the backbone of what we do. Visual communications is part of the backbone of what we do. And a big part of that is video or whatever form of film we're going to be talking about. You know, the ability for someone in film, in video, in creative services, you know, frankly, it's never been bigger. And as strong and as important as it is today, I think we've only scratched the surface.
What do you think is really compelling, concise content?
Well, again, content's a big category. So we can talk about, 3 seconds to maybe a minute on and certain medium, right? It really depends on the content and delivery mechanism, the channel by which you're doing it. What are you trying to impact with your consumer? What's the objective? Really determines the length and the content. But this is a content business, and so we just have to figure out what's the content and what's the channel to hit the key stakeholder.
I'm wondering if you have any advice for just a recent graduate like myself on how to stand out on an application for content creators.
In my opinion, don't worry so much about what your first job is. You just want to get in, right? So, just start. Too many people in your generation, they decide like, where am I going to be 10 years from now? Well, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be 10 years from now, but I can tell you whatever you're doing 10 years from now won't even be invented to. My advice is to find an organization that feels kind of right. Don't worry so much about what it looks like and even to some degree how much money you make day one, because you have a long life ahead of you. Real life experience. I mean, internships, jobs, those are going to be the most important things that stand out. Actual life experience, projects you did in college, things you worked on, that matters.
So lately I've noticed that Gen Z and millennial audiences have this advertising radar like no generation before. There's this pushback against blatant selling. How have you adapted to create native marketing with an authentic voice that still speaks to those generations of consumers?
Well, I mean, that's, again, what we do, right? So the fact is that, our typical target audience is not me, it's Kate, it's you all. We need to bring lots of voices around the table, but, often I will look at something done by my team and approved by a client that's geared towards your generation. And I'll look at it and it says, boy, that looks like something like a 50-year-old white guy would think you would care about. It doesn't look like something you would actually care about. It is incredibly important that we find ways to speak with authenticity to whoever our target audience is. And the human truths are different for different people in different places and different demographics. So how do we, we talk about how do we take reasons to care and turn them reasons to believe. So if we can't really have you find something that is authentic and relevant to you, you won't care about it. And so the answer to that's actually a challenge. There's a real need to make sure that we have many people in your age group that help us to understand the mind of you, not versus the mind of me. But the key thing is always using insights and data to figure out how do we create authentic messages authentic content through distribution channels that are going to have the desired impact. And it's very different based on, but I can even carve your demographic down. Are we going after African-American women? Do we want men who live in Texas? It's going to be very different based on who the key demographic is. And that's why the more you can get a client to hone in on who they're trying to influence, the better. Clients tell you, oh, we want everybody. Well, you can't impact everybody. Everybody's different. So how do we figure out who that audience is? And then how do we find that white space? And then the content and delivery mechanisms that are going to impact you through authentic conversations.
What's the most rewarding part of starting MWWPR?
The most rewarding part is, and I say this with absolute sincerity, it sounds like a big PR answer, like hiring people like Kate and Sophia and Tiffany, and like they're rock stars, right? So like, how cool is that? You know, I mean, Gina, you know, listen, she's kind of grown up here. I love the people part. You know, one of the things I really miss about, because of COVID, I mean, a lot of things, but you know, people ask me all the time, what do you miss the most? And what I miss the most is the serendipity of life. I love walking around the office and talking to people and traveling around the offices and talking to people and getting to know my teams and getting to know them as people. And then frankly, seeing them in action. You know, I don't actually do that much client work. You know, I'm really, you know, the orchestra leader today. And not that I wouldn't want to, but that's not really my highest value. So to me, this is the best part of the job.
Michael, thank you so much for your time. I know if we were live, there'd be this roaring applause that would be taking place by everyone. Thanking you again.